This video contains original script writing, narration, music, animation, and editing created by Angel S. All analysis is transformative content based on publicly available information. Some words are meant to be heard clearly. Click C for subtitles. Welcome back. I'm Angel. January 31st, 2026. In Canada, a woman who had never shown her face publicly went live on YouTube for the first time, with her daughter's help, for a live stream that would last 2.5 hours. She's not an influencer. She's not a psychic. She calls herself a paranormal investigator. Today, we're breaking down the first segment of that live stream, and what she had to say will fundamentally change how we understand the Yu Menglong case. You're live, Mother. That was the first thing Deborah's daughter said when the stream began. A little awkward, a little endearing, but it also showed us a real, ordinary person. What she said next, however, was anything but ordinary. Chapter 1. China's Political Landscape and Yu Menglong. Deborah cut straight to the point. What I want to talk about today is how everything happening in China right now is completely and utterly tied to Yu Menglong. This is no casual claim. It means Yu Menglong wasn't just a persecuted celebrity. He was at the very center of a power struggle at the highest levels of the Chinese government. According to Deborah's spirit box sessions, during the 4th plenum held from October 20th to 23rd, 2025, an attempted coup took place. Zhang Youxia, chairman of the Central Military Commission, the man who controlled the People's Liberation Army, tried to use what happened to Yu Menglong to blackmail Xi Jinping. They had recorded evidence of Yu Menglong's persecution and used it to force Xi Jinping to step back from power. Xi Jinping agreed. He consented to let Zhang Youxia take over the CMC and Kai Chi assume the chairmanship. He himself would remain only as a figurehead. But then, the elders didn't have the nerve to follow through. They feared that if they took Xi Jinping down, the entire CCP regime would collapse along with him. The economy was already in shambles. They couldn't take that risk. That hesitation gave Xi Jinping the time he needed to strike back. What happened next will send chills down your spine. Chapter 2. The Death of Zhang Youxia. Deborah says the spirits told her Zhang Youxia is dead. Not from illness, not from an accident. He was assassinated in the dead of night. Zhang Youxia was at his residence. He wasn't even dressed. An elite strike team from the South Pacific, allegedly bought by Xi Jinping, stormed his residence and opened fire. Zhang Youxia was shot and killed. Deborah says that during the spirit box session, Zhang Youxia's messages came through with extraordinary strength and clarity. Someone who's still alive couldn't communicate like that, she said. He's already crossed over to the other side. His spirit is incredibly strong. He told me everything he needed to say. And Zhang Youxia was the only person who could have stopped Xi Jinping from invading Taiwan. Now he's gone. Chapter 3. The Taiwan Strait Crisis. Deborah predicts that the first thing Xi Jinping will do next, even if it means invading another country, is attack Taiwan, because Taiwan is the trophy he wants. Zhang Youxia once told Xi Jinping, "You don't have the firepower. Japan and the US will intervene. They'll blockade the Taiwan Strait. Your oil won't get through. You might land a few hits on Taiwan, but then you'll have to pay reparations. This is a war you cannot win." But Xi Jinping wouldn't listen. He's surrounded by nothing but sycophants. No one dares tell him the truth. His ego has inflated beyond control. So he killed Zhang Youxia because Zhang Youxia was the biggest obstacle standing between him and Taiwan. Chapter 4. Who is Deborah? Before we continue, we need to understand who Deborah is. Throughout the live stream, she repeatedly emphasized, "I'm not a psychic, I'm not a medium. Call me a paranormal investigator." She explained that she uses technological equipment, not so-called intuition or sixth sense. Spirit boxes, Ovilus devices, REM pods. These instruments capture frequencies manipulated by spirits and convert their messages into sounds we can hear. Did you know? Nikola Tesla built his own spirit box after his mother passed away. Thomas Edison called his version the spirit phone. Some of the most brilliant minds in history believed in this theory. Deborah says, today's pseudoscience may be tomorrow's science. Chapter 5. Yu Menglong's Tears. Deborah says the first time she noticed Yu Menglong was when she saw a video. In that video, Yu Menglong was crying. He was weeping, saying he had been suppressed for 25 years. You could hear the anguish in his voice. Later, Deborah tried to reach him using an Ovilus device. Words appeared on the screen, one at a time. Help me, help me, over and over again. She decided to conduct a full session using the spirit box. During that session, Yu Menglong cried 5 times. Deborah said, when you hear someone crying on the other side, when they're already free and released from the suffering of this world, and they're still crying, you'd have to be the hardest soul in the world not to feel that. That was the moment she decided to speak out. Chapter 6. The Fate of 𝗗𝗲𝗯𝗮. In the live stream, Deborah also mentioned another person, Guo Junchen. She said she had seen a video. Guo Junchen was coming out of an airport wearing a white t-shirt flanked by 4 or 5 people escorting him. He looked like a scared rabbit. Those people weren't protecting him, they were guarding him. Because according to other psychics, Guo Junchen was forced to be present when Yu Menglong was tortured to death. He was even forced to perform some kind of ritual with Yu Menglong in front of a mirror to bind their souls together. If Yu Menglong failed, Guo Junchen would be the backup. Deborah communicated with Guo Junchen during a spirit session. Guo Junchen told her, I admired Yu Menglong. In the end, he was a man. He never caved. Right up until the very end, he never caved. I'm jealous of him because he got his soul back. Mine has already been devoured. Chapter 7. The Price of the Contract. Here we need to explain a concept. Deborah says that within this circle, there exists some kind of contract system. Those who sign may gain fame and fortune, but the price is their soul. Guo Junchen signed the contract. His soul was devoured as a result. Now he's trapped, unable to break free. Yu Menglong refused. From beginning to end, he never made a covenant with them. Even under torture, even facing death, he never surrendered. This is what makes Yu Menglong extraordinary. Not because of how famous he was, not because of how handsome he was, but because in such desperate circumstances, he chose to protect his soul. Chapter 8. Non-Human Entities. What comes next may be the most controversial part of the entire live stream. Deborah said, I'm not David Icke. I'm not going to say everyone's a reptilian. But the spirits have told me repeatedly, these people are not human. She asked viewers to look at the eyes of Du Cheng, Fan Shiqi, and Xi Jinping. That stone-cold stare, does it look like there's an ounce of humanity in there? She also revealed an even more startling detail. Lin Beichuan saw their true faces. He saw the face of an alien and screamed at the top of his lungs. He wanted to run. He said if he ever got out of this, he would never breathe a word of it for the rest of his life. Deborah acknowledged that the spirits only said aliens a few times. Some have pointed out that alien could also mean foreigner, but she countered. Who would scream in terror just from seeing a foreigner's face? She didn't answer that question directly. She left the judgment to us. Chapter 9. Awakening and the Schumann Resonance. Deborah spent a significant portion of the live stream discussing the topic of awakening. She mentioned a scientific phenomenon, the Schumann resonance. It's the heartbeat of the Earth, an electromagnetic wave that exists between the ionosphere and the atmosphere. For decades, It has remained stable at around 7.5 Hz. But over the past year and a half, the Schumann resonance has surged from 7.5 to over 100. This is unprecedented. Scientists cannot explain it. Deborah has a bold theory. Most people say the Schumann resonance is affecting humanity, but I believe it's humanity that is creating the higher Schumann resonance. She explained, "We're becoming more spiritual, more awakened. We're connecting with each other, opening ourselves to other realities. This collective energy is changing the heartbeats of the planet. This energy is like a beacon, sending a message to the universe. They're ready." Chapter 10. Fear and Division. But Deborah also issued a warning. Fear is the lowest vibrational frequency. If humanity is engulfed by fear, we cannot ascend to higher dimensions. When people are struggling to survive, when they don't know if they'll have food tomorrow or a roof over their heads, who has the bandwidth to think about awakening? This is their strategy. Create fear, create division, make you hate Democrats or hate Republicans, make you hate liberals or hate conservatives, make you hate anyone who's different from you. Deborah said, "I don't care what you wear. It's just a piece of clothing. We have to stop this. An ant can be crushed, but if the entire colony comes together, ants can devour an elephant. We are the 99%. They are only the 1%. Chapter 11. The Prophecy of the Eastern Sage. Near the end of the live stream, Deborah said something profoundly important. She said that, during a session, the spirits told her it was a prophecy that brought him. Deborah admitted she's not well versed in Eastern philosophy, but she had heard of a legend. In times of conflict, when everything seems at its worst, the great Eastern Sage will emerge. He will open the door to peace and prosperity. His coming signals that the time has arrived. Then she said, when Yu Menglong cried out, it wasn't just a plea for help, it was a battle cry. It was the signal of a great awakening. When light shines into the shadows cannot survive. And that's what Yu Menglong was. He was a light bringer. Chapter 12. The Phone Call to the White House. At the very end of the live stream, Deborah shared a startling moment from a spirit session. During a session with张又俠and 𝗵北川, the spirit box suddenly spoke a name, Donald. Then came the sound of a phone ringing. Not a cell phone ringtone. It sounded like an old-fashioned rotary phone. Deborah said, "Was that the phone in the Oval Office?" Then the spirits delivered a message. "Help us. We're starving. He's killing us. Find his house." Deborah believes the spirits want Trump to come to China, to do what he did in Venezuela, and drag Xi Jinping out of his bed. Ending. 2026 Prophecy. Conclusion. Before signing off, Deborah left us with a sobering prophecy. Xi Jinping is going to do something stupid. He's going to start a war. British psychic Parker has made a similar prediction. Xi Jinping will accidentally start a war, possibly through a submarine collision. This concludes the first segment of Deborah's live stream. 50 minutes. An ordinary person using technological equipment telling an extraordinary story. Is what she said true? I don't know. Neither do you. But one thing is certain. Yu Menglong's story is being heard by more and more people. And perhaps that is the very purpose of a light bringer. I'd like to close with Deborah's own words. When light shines into the shadows cannot survive. And that's what Yu Menglong was. He was a light bringer. Thank you for being here, for listening, for caring about a story the world tried to silence. If this video touched something in your heart, subscribe and turn on notifications so you won't miss what comes next. Drop a comment, let me know you're here, because every voice matters, and yours is one of them. I'm Angel. May the light be with you.
Blue whale, living where light never reaches. I thought silence was forever, until I heard a soul cry. His voice cut through the ocean floor, through everyone's silence, through years pretending not to hear. That moment I knew I had to rise on the other side of earth. The woman heard it too. Her name is Deborah. Where maple leaves fall. She's not a psychic, just someone with a radio that catches what we cannot hear. She pressed the switch and waited. Help me, help me. Over and over like waves on rocks, like a heartbeat fading out. She cried, I cried too deep below. Tears have no borders, they're all the same. Salt far in the east, a forest hides in fog. The bad panda lives there, eyes cold as stone. He says, no sound here. He says, no tears allowed. He cages every singing bird, swallows every star. But he forgot, weeds cross every border, whale songs pass through walls. And Deborah's screen is lighting up the dark. Will the dawn arrive when we finally speak? Will the sea divide when the whale breaks free? Deborah lights a lamp across the sea, shining toward Taiwan, toward you and me. Will the dawn arrive for souls in the night? I'll become the wave. You're not alone, I hear you now. The bad panda thinks he's won, but light never dies. It only waits for someone brave enough to shine. Deborah tells a story. Some break your heart, some make you rage, some make you believe. She says a boy never gave, and they tortured him, locked him away, tried to steal his soul, but he said no. One word stronger than any weapon, sharper than the panda's claws. With no, he saved himself and lit 1,000,000